So in this, we will look at SubVIs in LabVIEW, which is analogous to functions that we created in Arduino, little bits of code that we want to use in multiple places in a program. So imagine I had some inputs, and I wanted to convert each of these from degrees Celsius into degrees Fahrenheit. I would have to have 3 of these blocks of code in order to do that. And I can do that quickly enough. You saw me copy this. All I did was select a chunk of code, hold down the Control key, and drag it, and then I get a copy of it. So not too hard. I could now wire this into each multiplier and then wire the output. The other thing you can do, however, is you can create a SubVI. So I can select a chunk of code that's particularly useful nugget of code, and I can, let me find it here, create a SubVI, and it turns it into this little icon, and I'm going to have to name it. And actually, before I do that, I want to, defer decision. So what I want to do is, I want to wire it up properly so that it knows where the inputs and outputs are. And then I want to highlight the code and create a SubVI. So that has one input, one output. And here, I'm going to save that as, let's go to wherever I am. How about we just save in my documents here for a moment. This is Celsius to Fahrenheit. T conversion, right? So I'm going to name that, and I'm going to save my SubVI, or my VI here. So this is temperature VI. And so now I have this SubVI, and the only hard part here is from its default, we can't really tell what it's doing. So we double click on that to open it up. We double click on it, it opens it up. I can make this window a little bit larger and show the block diagram as well. And so now you can see that whatever the input is put into this mathematical expression. Out comes the output. So what might be helpful is to edit the icon for this. So this is a really rudimentary tool. It's pretty much paint. So what I tend to do is, oh, that's not working. I tend to, here it is, select. So I tend to select whatever's in here and delete it. And then I usually just type a few characters. So T, and it automatically centers it. So I have to remember that. C, else, oh, that's really hard to read, huh? I don't know, that's not perfect. Let's see here. Degrees C, 2 degrees F. It's not perfect, but it's not awful either. I guess I could try to make this a little bit clearer. So feel free to play around with that a bit. It's something. I'm going to close out of this now, and you'll see that it updates here. And now, instead of having this chunk of code, I would just copy this SubVI throughout the program, and now I have one input, one output, and it's a little bit simpler than, in some cases, than having that chunk of code. You might be able to see how if you have a really complicated program and you wanted to take out some of the repetitive pieces or the larger pieces of code, you could pretty easily shrink the size of your block diagram down. One word of caution: when you submit a VI with a SubVI in it, you have to make sure that you submit all of it. So now, in order for me to submit my temperature VI, I need to submit this Celsius to Fahrenheit SubVI. And if I don't include that, the temperature VI wouldn't work. So for example, if I moved this up a spot and I tried to open temperature VI, oh, it's going to tell me, there it is, that it's missing a SubVI. So, so just be careful if you do use SubVIs to keep them together. And that time it opened just fine. So that's how you create SubVIs out of snippets of code. You just select that snippet of code. And once you've selected a snippet of code, you can come up and create a SubVI of that selection.